Hello,
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 hello.
everybody.
Hey, welcome to the couch. This is your guy Damien and my co-host Miss Jackie over here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good
Hope
evening.
everyone. It is evening. Hope everyone is having a great day.
We are having a great day.
Always.
We are
Because
lying.
It's a mental thing.
I am not
We-
having a great day.
You speak it into existence.
I was not having a great day, and I feel good now, though.
Oh, you feel great?
Yeah,
Okay.
I like to be on the couch, on the bench, in the studio.
On the bench, in the studio, on the couch. This
The
is
bench
still
to
the
the
couch,
couch to the
regardless
studio.
if we say studio or not.
That's
this
true.
is still always going to be, forever be the couch.
Well, I'm glad to be here with you.
I am. I appreciate it. I appreciate it being wanted and being noticed and being a pleasure to be around people.
I did not say all that. I was thinking, did I
Oh
say
my
that?
goodness. My goodness.
Okay.
It's funny. But again, welcome you guys for another week, another chance to kind of learn some new things. And this week is going to be especially important because it's something that we all kind of deal with on a day-to-day basis, I would say, at some level, and that's anxiety
In the workplace.
In the workplace. And I probably had a little bit today. I'm pretty sure everyone has experienced it to some level, some extent, and just didn't know how to actually put a finger on it. That's my producer guy. Yeah, we good. Yeah, we live now.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
We good. Thank you.
That's my guy Holiday.
Okay.
What's going on, man?
The producer of this segment. Okay, so we're going
Yes.
to talk about anxiety in the workplace.
So before we get into that, please definitely don't forget to download the TuneIn app. Mondays 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. You'll definitely be able to hear a broadcast of the actual show that we're doing live. Y'all just getting the inside scoop today. That's all.
So it's the TuneIn app and then Power 104.4
Yes.
on the TuneIn app.
Absolutely.
Go to the TuneIn app, Power 104.4, and then you listen to us every Monday at 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., broadcasting from the couch. So this
Yes.
segment will air on Monday, okay? So today we're talking about anxiety in the workplace. This is a great topic to conquer since most people sometime in their life deal with anxiety at work, whether that's
Right.
once a week, 4 days a week, 7 days a week, or you know what, an hour a day at work. Let's just talk about why we're bringing up this topic, what it means. And so go ahead.
What is I know what it is, and maybe you know exactly what it is, but what is anxiety? Like, how do we know what's the difference between just a normal worry versus you exhibiting anxiety or being anxious?
Okay, so when you're worrying, you're concerned about something happening that you have no control over. And excessive worrying can become anxiety when it manifests itself with physical symptoms.
Right.
So when your worrying becomes an issue and interference with you performing at work or performing daily tasks, you're physically being affected. We have a list of symptoms that we can discuss. I know for my own anxiety, I sweat, I have racing thoughts. I can feel my mind racing to a point where it never slows down.
Right.
I sweat more. I just move faster. I move faster. I definitely type faster when I'm anxious. I can feel my hands moving very fast. People that know me well in a work environment will say, "Everything okay? You
Right.
thinking about something? You got something going on?"
Right.
Because my hands won't stop moving. So for me, that's the physical manifestation. Some people have chest pains. I know that I also lose my appetite when I get anxious. Completely
Right.
lose my appetite for days.
Right. So, anxiety, I mean, and it could be different for a lot of different people, and it's exhibited, in a lot of different ways. And some people will call it stress, and they're constantly thinking about things that they may not have the ability to manage it or to control that particular situation. So it's a feeling of not having control over a situation, and it's outside of your locus. And your locus of control is primarily your thoughts, your feelings, your behavior. But outside influences, whether that's other people, how they communicate, how they respond to things, how they communicate to you, as well as financial burdens, job performance, all these different things can lead to ongoing worry, which ultimately results in anxiety.
Right. So we definitely want to cover the fact of having anxiety in the workplace, but we want to state that that anxiety can be a spillover from something happening at home or anywhere else. Okay.
Absolutely. And oftentimes there's usually a double dip. If you're experiencing anxiety, more often than not, you have a little bit of depression in there. And I think we discussed that when we were discussing depression several weeks ago. That anxiety comes as a result of depression and vice versa.
Okay.
Because when you do feel out of control, then you start to feel hopeless after a while because you can't manage whatever it is that you're dealing with.
So let's say this. Let's just make this bland and general statement. Worrying manifests itself physically to become anxiety.
Right.
And excessive anxiety can lead to depression.
Yes.
So then they are all intertwined.
Right.
Okay.
And what I usually would tell my clients as far as being able to, I guess, put a picture, a mental picture or a visualization of how I see the different aspects, whether it's depression and anxiety. I look at it at both ends. Like depression is more so something that you experienced in the past, maybe a hurtful experience or a grief of some sort, and it's unresolved. So when something is unresolved, then you carry along that weight, however long it takes. You know, some people have grief or some type of depressive episode for years on end, and anxiety comes from future thinking, as far as things in the future that you really don't have any control over, but because you may have experienced something similar, you always equate that previous situation with something in the future.
Right.
Now, unless you a mind reader or you can tell the future, you know, it's kind of. I mean, I understand anxiety, and I know the physical and the physiological and the mental part along with it, but it's kind of like that cognitive distortion that you have, that you're this mind reading, you have this future thinking type of attitude or behavior that contributes to that.
Okay, so that leads me to the next thing I was going to say is we want to zero in on mind control being a way to minimize anxiety. But before we get into that...
As a tool.
Yes, as a tool to minimize and reduce anxiety. I don't know that anything you do will ever completely eliminate any kind of anxiety, but at least it can be controlled, right?
I mean, it depends on the severity of it. I've read and I've watched different videos where people have had anxiety for 20 plus years, and they find what works for them in managing that. Now, you can't control your worry and worrisome thoughts because that's just a natural response. But like you said earlier, worry or anxiety manifests because of worry.
That's right, excessive worrying.
So if you're able to manage your worry, which all along goes back to your thoughts.
With mind control.
You know, and being mindful of what it is, of your perception or your perspective and what you're trying to deal with, then eventually you will alleviate anxiety without the use of medication, Xanax, whatever the case may be, overall. So I think it is possible to actually eliminate anxiety, but it does take practice. It does take consistency in your approach, and you have to find what works for you. Some people can meditate and do yoga and it works well for them. Some people can exercise. Some people can continue to enjoy life experiences and gain new tools and things that they're just into, new hobbies, new interests, and it helps them. Now, it's not going to stop you from worrying, but you may not have an anxiety attack, you know, in the future once you start to utilize those skills.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense. So what I want to do is I want to read this statement about anxiety in the workplace, so that people get a real understanding of where it can come from in the workplace. And I found this statement. I think it's very relative. Anxiety in the workplace is often related to a concern that one will fail or perform poorly and not up to standard. Once you have control over how to be confident and you can learn the skill of maintaining confidence, it'll become easier to manage performance anxiety. So now this is specifically anxiety at work. And I know
just dealing with just I guess specifically with that's dealing more so with the performance. But there are different levels or different types of anxiety. And that's one of them. But I think a lot of people that I've come in contact with are communicating. I've worked with a lot of people that have been referred to me due to work related stress, whether that's just feeling overworked, feeling incompetent, feeling like their job never ends, all these different issues that come about that trigger that particular stressful environment. And I've actually had one of those experiences, like in my first job when I moved here. I actually worked at a call center. I'm not going to say the name of the call center because it's still operational, and I don't want to be sued or anything like that.
Hey, everybody.
Because the cops don't have no money. You can't.
Yeah,
you can't
I was going to stop you. I was getting ready to interject. Like, I
so,
know we had a stressful day, but don't say that right now.
So when we talk about like the physical manifestation of anxiety and worry, for me, for that particular job, I could be fine, like no problem. The time I wake up, I begin to drag, like, I don't want to go, this type of thing. And once I got into the parking lot, I instantly got a migraine.
Okay, yeah, I had a job like that. Sure.
Every time. It didn't matter what day or, if I took medication to manage that headache or whatever.
So you would agree that's the physical manifestation of stress, worry, and anxiety.
Absolutely.
About what was to come.
Absolutely. And it wasn't more so about my performance. I think it was more so of the actual job itself. It was just a stressful job. Maintaining numbers and making sure that you meet the mark every day.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, anxiety is a fear of something, a fear of the unknown.
But wouldn't you say meeting the mark every day is part of performance? It was a kind of performance anxiety.
Well, I mean, I never had an issue, and I mean, I could be an anomaly in this situation, or it could be a few others that was in that particular situation. However, the anxiety that I had was the fear that I wasn't going to be up to par that particular day, and that I had a fear of losing that job and losing my livelihood and being homeless. And this is how anxiety works. It spills over into everything else.
I like the fact that you said that, because let's touch on that. Because in my own opinion, I have struggled with anxiety for years. And trying to get a handle on it now, I definitely have a handle on it.
Right.
I never had a handle on it. But when I started looking at anxiety, I started looking at the fact that it only takes one negative thought to create a smorgasbord of worry. Yep, the ripple effect of worry, stress, and anxiety. And so what I have learned to do is catch myself at the first thought. So if I park my car and I'm thinking, oh God, here we go. That's usually my thought process when I'm in that situation. Then I would curb the thought at that moment. This is a new day. Yesterday is over. It's time to treat this as a new day. Yesterday doesn't matter, but a lot of us can't do that.
That's a learned thing, just like with anything else.
It's a skill.
It's a skill, and we're definitely going to touch on different skills. Give you a little bit of some jewels to take with you, some free jewels.
Some emphasis on some free jewels.
But that's definitely one of those things, and that's called thought stoppage. Is a lot of different names for it.
You call it thought stoppage.
Yes, or like it depends on who I'm talking to. If I have like a teenager or a young child that's dealing with anxiety, then I would put like a stoplight. You know, like the red, yellow, green, and the red is to stop, and then the yellow is to kind of think about the different options or think about what it is that's triggering that anxious thought that you're having, and come up with some plausible solutions for that particular problem. And then green is to kind of make a decision and go for it and accept whatever it is that you get out of that.
Okay.
Whether it's a positive experience or a negative experience, it's an experience. And it's something, I'm going to get back to it, but it was a really good quote that I was listening to a podcast or something like that, or interview, and she said something that was very profound. When I find it, I'm going to definitely let y'all have it before the end of the show. It's very powerful, and I think that it'll change your life. Like, it's that powerful.
I wondered if it's that powerful. I need my life changed. Well, that's how you sold that.
Yes,
we need to know what that is. So while we're just kind of sitting here in between,
we're not sitting here.
Well, I'm just saying we need to interact with the people who are watching, our loyal viewers here. So
I saw Honey Bee pop in.
Oh, I knew that would be the first.
Hey, what's up, Zai?
Hey,
what's
girl.
up, Kiba? How's everything? I hope all is well.
It's all Damien's fan base. I love it.
Cut it out.
Y'all are so loyal.
Hey,
I appreciate that. I really do.
I love
depend
my people. My
I
friends,
depend
my
on your
family.
people. There are people now.
You know, it's all good.
Yeah, consciously changing your mindset. So that we're going to get into that.
Absolutely.
Controlling your thoughts, stopping the thoughts, replacing the thoughts. All of that is so necessary.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Do you guys have physical manifestations of anxiety? You guys watching? If you have those and you know what they are, can you mention them? Because I like I said, some of the ones that I mentioned aren't even on the list that I pulled up. The ones that I have with the racing thoughts and typing very fast. Honestly, it's my way of recognizing when I'm getting out of control and I need to get it under control. Because I don't want to be at work typing that fast where people notice how fast I'm typing.
And not only does it comes off as like a nervous energy.
It does.
Like on edge, but you're also very irritable. And you're snappy.
And it infects other people.
Absolutely.
So I've had a supervisor last year, migraines and stuttering.
Yes, sis.
Migraines and stuttering.
I twitch.
I would hate that. I would
wait.
I felt like it was contagious. Like my eye started twitching when I read that.
Wow.
Yeah, my eye did twitch on the video. You can go back and look at that later. But basically, this stuff is contagious. I had a supervisor who told me last year she pulled me in her office, and we know who that is. And if she's watching, she may be watching. But basically, I remember when she told me, "Listen, I could tell that you weren't being snappy to be disrespectful. I could tell that you're so stressed out and anxious by not being able to control what's happening in this meeting, that you're displaying physical symptoms of anxiety." And me and her agreed she would let me know.
Right.
So my thing with her was I was very receptive to that, and I know that I do it. So I said to her that I appreciated knowing it, but can you let me know when you see that coming? And she told me that she would. And so I then felt better about coming to these meetings.
Right.
Because, before I said anything or before she said anything to me, it was just something that was going to happen. I was going to be anxious. Right. I would either have to control it or do the best I could to keep it to a minimum. Absolutely. But once it was out in the open I notice when you do this and I'm going to help you, I felt much better about being self-aware, knowing someone else was aware enough and cared enough to help me minimize it. So sometimes I would just look at her and she would look at me and kind of, nod her head a little bit.
So pretty much you just needed kind of like that validation that
and a reminder
that your feelings are valid. I think I posted something like that recently. Like you're kind of like the master of your own emotions, and nobody can tell you how to feel. So if you do have a nervous energy or you are anxious, there's a thought that's driving that emotion always. It's just not out of the clear blue sky. It's always something that's behind that's driving that particular emotion. And sometimes when you don't feel like it's being supported or validated by other people, then you tend to internalize it even more.
It makes you more stressed.
And it makes it even worse. So definitely expressing yourself and expressing that anxiety and letting people know, okay, I'm nervous about this, or I don't know how to feel because I'm just,
I think
on edge.
A lot of us approach work like it's this environment where I can't be honest. And I know a lot of your jobs, for the individuals watching, it's probably not looked upon that great if you start talking about your emotions or how you feel. But we do work in mental health.
Right.
So maybe
Right.
the fact that I was at a mental health agency and my supervisor's job to oversee
Right. Right.
how, in addition to our performance, how we feel and how we're dealing, that she paid attention to that. So I guess that could be an argument. Every job, I'm sure,
I mean,
every corporate job, definitely, it's not an open environment, an open platform for you to just talk about
Right.
your emotions or how stressed you are. It's looked at very negatively.
and that's why you definitely use your EAP. Definitely.
Talk about EAP.
Utilize that. Employee Assistance Program, where most I would say corporate jobs, and not corporate, but it comes like in your benefit package, and most people don't take advantage of it, but it allows you to have those free sessions, and it's covered by your job. I think you can have up to like 8 or something like that, but definitely utilize that if it's a plausible solution for you to at least process what's going on within the workplace setting. I know I've gotten a lot of referrals from a familiar bank,
Okay.
directly to me, and it's all the same the same issue. Like, I'm having really bad anxiety. I haven't been at work for like 2 months because every time I go in there, it's kind of like I have a panic attack and I can't sleep and my work performance is low and those types of things. And they were actually written out for, a month or two to kind of deal with those things. So definitely utilize EAP, guys, and utilize your resources that you do have in order to process about anxiety, because it wears its head, in a couple of different ways. You can become more angry. You can get less sleep. You won't have an appetite. You'll be always on edge. You may end up chopping somebody's head off because you're just on
These
edge.
are weekly occurrences for me, so I don't have any problem saying that, but I'm aware. So let's get into techniques
Yes.
for dealing with and coping with anxiety. And while we're doing this, guys, you guys watching, if you can chime in the comment section on things that you may do to manage your anxiety,
Right.
or maybe any questions that you may have with how to handle certain situations or whatever is going on
Right.
at work, or I guess any other place where you are dealing with or are confronted with anxiety and those related issues.
Sharing is Kevin. Did I say Kevin?
What'd you say?
It's supposed to be sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring?
But I didn't say caring.
Well,
It's live.
It's
I
after
can't.
6. Who
I
cares?
can't reverse it. It is what it is.
Sharon, Karen, caring,
Yes,
who
it's all
cares?
good.
It's all the same thing. Okay, so let's get into this. So Damien and I, we were talking about this one method that I definitely wanted to discuss, and then we're going to get into some others. So I heard about this 5-second method for
Yes.
curbing anxiety, and
Yes.
being someone who deals with anxiety. When I heard this, I listened to this a couple times, and I said, all right, that makes sense. So with this method, it comes from Mel Robbins, and you can look her up on YouTube. Mel Robbins, she has a lot of videos on how to reduce stress, anxiety, and how to cope. She is a woman who took psychiatric drugs to manage.
Zoloft for what, like
Thank
20
you.
years?
Yeah, 20 years. And just decided at some point, I have to figure out another way to manage this, because her kids were having anxiety,
Right.
which they probably picked up habits from her.
Exactly.
And she said she felt bad telling them, you just need to deal with it, when she knew she was taking
And
Zoloft.
you was taking meds.
I thought that was so real. I
Yes,
thought that
like,
was so real.
it's like you
telling
got
your
your-
kids,
your-
you just need to figure it out.
Right. You got your own stuff, but when
Yeah.
the kids start presenting those same
Right.
things, it's totally different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was pretty profound and pretty...
Oh, yeah, honest.
It's pretty honest, and I think it's pretty regular. Like, a lot of us parents
Sure.
we deal with a lot of things, but when it comes to the kids, it's like, it's different. Now, I would say I'm not a huge proponent of, psychotropic medications, and that's just my personal bias.
But you agree sometimes it's necessary for some people?
For some.
That's all
Just
I wanted
like
to
I
know.
would say, somebody with high blood pressure
Mm-hmm.
would need to take medication. No, you need to change your diet.
That's right.
You need to change the way you live and the way that you do things. The medication it's not gonna help if you're not making any changes within that process.
Okay, that just gave me a topic for a whole nother show where we will debate the cause and effects of psychotropic
I love
medication and the benefits of
Oh,
it.
we gonna go
I
at
would
it.
love to do that.
We gonna go at
Okay,
it.
great.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother show. But basically, Mel Robbins, she was talking about the 5-second rule for curbing
Right.
your anxiety, and it's in the moment that you feel yourself anxious, you count to yourself 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you anchor your thought. You have an anchoring thought. And for her, she gives the example of saying, turning the anxious incident or issue into excitement.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is exciting. This is another day at work. It's a brand new experience. Something different will happen today. I'm going to conquer something today, and now I'm ready.
So
Is that funny?
Yes.
I like it.
Yes, because I
like
mean
it.
it's applicable, but from a reality standpoint, and we deal with some reality stuff here. Like
Some
really, you're not going to say like this work day today is going to be exciting when you're at a computer and you're just clickety clacking and that's all you really do.
Not the work day, but it's an example. You have to find the thought that's exciting, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got to find what that's going to be. And it takes practice. Like we were
Right.
saying, it's a skill.
Right.
Even this is a skill. So you may have to think about after you left work today, on the way home and after you
Right.
finish dinner and all that,
Right.
what could I be looking forward to
Exactly.
tomorrow? Maybe it's something
Or
outside
that
from work.
evening.
Yeah,
it has
that's
to-
what I was
I
gonna
would say something outside
from
of
work. I know
work.
you would say that.
Give me a beach, give me some music, give me something.
Right.
And I think that's why a lot of people utilize music and things that they can control within the workplace setting to kind of help reduce some of that anxiety. So if I got music, I'm good.
Okay, so you would be thinking about something outside of work.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the comment here? Isn't that the definition of insanity? Keep going back to
I
the
mean,
same stressful job, expecting something
Zaida,
different.
I agree with that. But again, going to a job that you don't necessarily like or want is based on responsibility
What's
and
needed. What's needed.
based out of a fear. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't put ourselves in half the situations that we do, but we do them because we are afraid of something, whether that's a fear or afraid of loss of lifestyle, connections, relationships, whatever the case may be. A lot of things that we do are based out of fear. So it's definitely partially insanity, Zaida, if we keep going back to the same job and expecting something different to happen within that job, especially if our job is just redundant. I definitely agree with that. My answer to that will be do something different.
Okay, I see a lot of the physical manifestation symptoms, the headaches, the migraines, the stuttering, aggravation, of course, irritability, high irritability.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, all right. So it's all across the board.
And then anxiety increases your likelihood to be exposed to physical health symptoms, whether that's diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke, cancer, all these different things. We expose ourselves to those things because we're mentally not in a,
Let's talk about that. I want to talk about it.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. So I love to give my own examples. I think it's for education purposes, and
Right.
I just am open, so I don't mind sharing. Basically, years ago, maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, I was going through a really difficult time, and I was about, I don't know, wait, I can't do math. How old was I? Okay, I was about 27, 28 years old, and I got diagnosed with an ulcer.
Okay.
An ulcer.
Yeah.
I had to have ultrasounds, rush myself to the hospital, drive myself to the hospital. I
Wow.
was so unable to walk and do things for myself based on the pain I was feeling. And the doctor said it was stress related. I didn't even know you could get an ulcer from major stress, but I learned about that at that time. I mean, crawling on the floor, not able
Right.
to walk, pain.
Yeah.
And I have the ulcer diagnosis, I don't think it ever completely goes away. Like if you have an ulcer, it can be aggravated, I believe, from time to time. But yeah, to be so young, under 30 and female and everything, I just was like, this is not supposed to be happening right now. And I realized at some point, after talking to the doctor, that if I didn't learn how to control my anxiety, I would have more physical ailments.
Yeah.
And I could not afford to do that.
Heart attacks and things like that happen because we're having these emotions and these feelings, and we're not processing them, and so we're internalizing them. So when you're internalizing, you're keeping it in, and it's, you know, our body is, and our brain is like very powerful. Like it's very, very powerful. So what you think can manifest and impact your body, like that's crazy to me. Like it's wild. Like what I think really impacts me physically.
Yeah, spending a night in the hospital, being told it was due to stress and worry, was unacceptable for me.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm thinking about the statement you made, going back to the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I want to know, what is your suggestion for managing anxiety in the workplace? Can you give another strategic technique for how to manage anxiety in the workplace?
I mean, in the workplace, you have a lot of different ways that you can address it. And again, it's person-centered. What worked for you may not work for me. For some people, and I think I read that by Kiba, she said that she makes a point to walk around her building, just go for a walk.
Did she say that? I didn't see that one. Okay.
Right there.
Okay, every now and then, or
just take a walk and just plan that. We normally don't have, you know, like when you're in school, you get these 5-minute breaks in between classes to decompress.
Right. We don't get that at the office.
You don't get that at the office, so you have to make yourself do those things. For me, I'll if I'm at the office, I'll just shut my door and I'll keep the in session on my door, so no one can interrupt me. And I may turn off the lights and just turn on music and just vibe out for 15 minutes.
Okay.
Or I may go outside and get me some vitamin D. The sun does wonders.
Right. The sunlight. Okay,
Absolutely.
that's an easy way to reduce some stress temporarily, at least.
Now,
to get some sunlight.
One major one, and this is what I call a Jedi mind trick, and I have a lot of those different mind tricks, and it's a part of this type of therapy or approach that I've been intensively trained in, and it's one of the tip skills, and it's and what it is you kind of force your brain to slow your heart rate down, because most of the time when you're starting to have anxiety or panic, your heart races. So what you do is this is really a good gym. I usually charge for things like this, you guys.
Okay,
but I love you guys.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
So what you do is, if you go to the bathroom, or you have access to like a canteen, like a fountain with some ice. So hold on, not a canteen, but you know what I mean, like a soda machine or something like that, like just that break area. What you do is, if you have access, get you some ice.
Yeah.
Put it in the sink.
Okay.
Make it really, really cold. Just get some really cold water.
Okay.
And you can do one or two things.
Do you put your hand in it?
You can put your hands in it, and what it does, it triggers your brain to tell your heart to slow down, because you're almost like you're in hypothermia. So when you experience hypothermia, your heart slows down. Your heart rate slows down. So if your heart rate slows down, then you're not going to experience that much anxiety or panic.
Listen, we need to. This is a disclaimer.
No, seriously.
You go to work. Hold on. You go to work and put your hands in a big ass bag of ice, and your ass pass out. Don't blame it on us. I'm just saying. Look, some people's hearts can't take that.
Know your limits and know
your limits. That's all.
So,
just a little disclaimer.
And another one to be kind. And another one is
Wow.
Another one is to dip your face in it. Like,
oh, the ice.
It slows down your heart rate, but it also distracts you from that negative thought that you're experiencing.
Okay, that's what I know. It distracts you immediately.
Right. It's an immediate distraction. Exactly.
Good job, Damien. He brought it right back around, y'all.
You're thinking about how cold it is. You're not thinking about what it is that's stressing you out in that particular moment. So these are
She taking all the ice. I know that's right, girl. Bring the ice to work. Again, go to the gas station. Get a bag.
It's a mind trick. You're tricking your mind into thinking that you're in this cold environment,
right?
And it automatically starts to shut things down and slow things down for you. But it also slows down your thought process as well because you're distracted. Distractions are always a good thing.
Okay.
And that's why Candy Crush was a big hit. That's why workplace relationships happen because people want to distract themselves from the rigmarole of the stress in their work environment.
Is that why workplace relationships happen, in your opinion? You and this pen.
I'm not going to say that because I don't have the research to back that up.
That's another show, though. We can do that.
But definitely, I feel like if your workplace environment is stressful, it's just an automatic human reaction to do things that's going to make
alleviate stress and forget about the stress.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that may be your work, boo. That may be you going for a walk. That may be you taking an extended lunch. That means taking those mandatory breaks that the labor force says that you are entitled to when you work a certain amount of hours. So definitely.
Zaida, she acted up. I want you to, Zaida, you're going to have to stop because I'm distracted. She said her office, first of all, my office is an icebox. I'm bundled up all day, gloves and all. They don't want to turn the heat on.
Yes.
Now you want me to put my hands in ice.
So at least you're definitely right, being at the wrong job. And sometimes you don't have, ultimately you do because we do have free will and we do have those things that we can put into the universe to make things happen for us. But for some people, if they're in a stressful situation, a dire situation, and they need that job, they
need that job. Yeah, that's different.
You know what I'm saying? They need it. And there's no light at the end of that tunnel for them to say, okay, well, I want to do this or that, and I'm going to do it. And I'll put a plan in place. But sometimes your limitations could be the job requirements or the things that you need to do in order to accomplish that particular job. But definitely, I think half of the issue of anxiety in the workplace is being in the wrong area or that
in the wrong environment.
That wrong environment, that workplace environment or the job that you're doing is just not for you. It's not matching up with your personality and where you see yourself at. So that's a whole nother spill that we can get into as far as contentment and what's the word that I'm looking for? The job satisfaction or where you are in your life. That's a whole nother spill that we can get into far as like where you feel like you should be at and where you're at in reality, and how does that match up and how does that impact you, emotionally.
Well, I'm gonna say something about this. Just because I have to when I have something to say. So just touch on the beginning part of what you said. We both know that we met at a job that I left. And I left there. I remember telling you, I can't take it. I also remember telling you that I had a meeting with a coworker who's a friend of mine. And I remember in the meeting, I just had a bad attitude.
Yeah,
and she told me, your attitude sucks.
You can definitely ball over into everything.
Yeah, in the meeting, I think she was looking for some positive direction, and I was so spun by the anxiety and stress, I was just tapped out. And that coworker, who was my subordinate at the time, said, listen, if you're that agitated and you don't like being here, you need to leave. And then she left my office, and I wasn't mad at her. Like, I think for a minute I wanted to be mad, like, damn, and I'm in charge. But she was right. And so I thought about it that night. I called her that evening and told her, I appreciate you saying that because I didn't realize how obvious it was, even though it would seem obvious. But you're right, I need to be somewhere else. And fortunately, within a month, I transitioned somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I knew, you know what? If this is physically manifesting where other people not only notice it, but it affects other people, I need to allow them an opportunity to have somebody else leading them. Because I can't do this anymore. So I did. I'm very grateful I was able to do that.
And so that brings me to another point as far as a skill that you want to have or want to develop over time in order to manage that anxiety. And your example just now pretty much laid that out. And now,
Yeah.
but it was actually another person. But sometimes you have to confront your own thoughts.
Oh, I did, and I don't have a problem doing that, but
Yeah.
I'm self-aware to a high level. And
Okay.
everyone watching is not completely self-aware. I mean, the training that we've had really puts us in tune with our feelings, emotions, and our thoughts constantly, where we check ourselves because we've been trained to.
Right.
And not everybody, I have to keep reminding myself, not
Right.
everybody can do that. So self-awareness is a major part of mind control.
Right. And when you're challenging that thought or confronting that thought, you have to be able to differentiate what is your perception and what is actually going on, or what's the reality of the situation. And sometimes your perception can be based on an emotion, an emotional response, where in reality it's more on a logical playing field, if you would say that. But you have to be able to differentiate that in order to either accept, that emotion, accept what's going on in order to change it. That's kind of like my biggest thing.
Your midget.
I'm just all over the place, guys. Don't pay her no attention.
We need some humor. It's some
But-
lights in
but-
here.
but-
It's
but
hot in
again-
here.
But again, you have to be able to accept, okay, even when you're experiencing that anxiety and being able to change that thought so you can't alleviate it, you have to accept that you're feeling that way, that you are feeling whatever it is, you're feeling anxious or you're worried about something, and be able to say, okay, well, do I want to stay feeling like this, or do I want to
change
it?
something?
Right. But first, acknowledging that you do feel like that is the first step.
Acknowledging is the first step. Being self-aware is a step. And then what can you do at that moment to change it? So
Right.
now that we are kind of winding down and we've got about 10 minutes, I want you to give your tips on how you can manage anxiety. What can we tell them as far as they're feeling anxious coming into work? What can you do? What can you tell yourself? I know I have some things in mind that I tell myself that I want to share. Maybe it'll help someone. But what can you give?
Okay. Well, I think I want to go into this. We have enough time. That's a lot of time,
I
actually.
feel like when I tell you we have a time constraint, your response is always, we have enough time.
Yeah, we do.
Which is
We
fine.
do. Because this is a couch. This is our couch. I can make the rules.
You're so opposite.
So, one thing is confidence in anxiety. Like workplace anxiety stems from lack of confidence. And there are two major types. You have your internal confidence and you have your external confidence. External is what you portray, what you put out there for people to see. You can be extroverted to the 10th degree and still not be confident internally. So one of those things that we often kind of deal with, especially on this platform, especially being in this profession, we have to force ourselves to sometimes be what we're not. I was never the in front of the camera, the person in the front. You know what I'm saying? If I was a part of a singing group, I probably wouldn't be the lead singer, but I would probably be the one that has all the nice moves and all that.
Oh, would you?
You know what I mean? I would be like the smooth one, but I would play my position. You know what I mean? So, but doing this, that's a key example of external confidence.
Okay.
I can portray it all day, but sometimes, and I think the lady said in one of those videos that a lot of times, especially with women, they can exude this external confidence, but internally you're not confident, and this is why you're experiencing anxiety, because you're not confident internally in your abilities.
Right.
But when you portray it externally, the perception that other people are gathering is that you got it all together, you're confident, you're good to go. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand what you're nervous about, because you always knock it out the park.
Okay.
it comes back to internally. What are your thoughts? What's your motivation? What is it internally that triggers those negative thoughts? Although you may not exhibit it externally, internally it's still a mental battle.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean? So I want you guys to kind of take that. That was one of those gems. I couldn't find my other one, but it's very profound. I thought that one was profound as well, because I know a lot of people that are very extroverted.
Right.
But
excuse me.
Behind the scenes, it's kind of like it's a singer, and when she's out on stage, you know what I'm saying, she performs.
She exudes confidence, but
right.
she lacks it
but
behind
prior
her.
to that, it's just like, I'm going to mess up, it's going to go wrong, XYZ, every single time.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And it's a difference from having butterflies to not having internal confidence.
Okay, so let me piggyback off your confidence spell, and then let me give mine. So this is what I took. Confidence is not a personality trait; it's a skill.
Absolutely.
So I think we grow up almost it being instilled in us that confidence is more of a personality trait.
Right.
And it wasn't until I heard this, paid attention to it, and really started to study it that I said, "Damn, it's really a skill.
Yes.
Just like any other talent." That you get good at,
you hone it.
You've got to continue to work on it.
Exactly.
Confidence is the ability to move from thought to action.
Right.
I like that.
Right.
Confidence is the willingness to try and know that you could fail.
Right.
So this is something I'm very good at. I have my things that I'm self-conscious about. I think like anyone else. I am not perfect. I have daily things that I constantly work at. But I do exude confidence, and it is real. I feel like in most situations, I'm not afraid to try something. And that's the difference between me and a friend of mine who may say, I wish I could do that. And I always tell them, but you can.
Yeah.
You just have to feel like it's possible. Then you have to know you could fail or you could succeed.
And that was one of those gems. It did come back to me, actually. And it was when you said something about confidence being a trait, that triggered it in me, definitely. And it's saying when you have the ability and the willingness to try something and knowing that you're going to either succeed or fail, but at the end you're going to survive at the end of it regardless, so you still do it anyway. That's the confidence. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Knowing whether you're going to fail or succeed, you're still going to survive. So as long as I'm living and I'm going to be good, it doesn't really matter whether I fail or succeed. I would want to succeed, and I'm going to put that in the atmosphere. But if I fail, that doesn't mean that the end of my days and I'm just done and it's just a wrap. You see what I'm saying?
I use it with work. I used it when you suggested us doing this.
Right.
It's never something that I've done, but I said, yeah, we could do that.
Right.
Of course we can do that. And what did I say to you? I said, I like to think of myself as a little entertaining, a little animated. Right. And I think we know what we're talking about. We have confidence in our ability to distribute information based on our knowledge. We have that. I even do that when I go out with my friends.
Right.
And I'm saying, well, just wait. Let me go speak to this person. And they're asking, do you know this person? And I said, nah. But I'm going to go speak to them. Either they're going to have an attitude with me or it's going to be an open conversation. So that's what that is.
And I think I don't know how many people deal with this, but I dealt with that a lot. Just that fear of, because that's all anxiety is just a fear. So that fear of being inadequate in that particular situation, whether externally I can exude confidence all day, but inside I'm like, if I'm rejected or if I don't get this, I'm gonna feel some type of way. I'm already manifesting something that I don't even know if it's gonna happen or not. I could get that phone number. I could get that date. I could get that job.
You take a risk.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But honing into what we do and just progressing as a person in growth, I'm gonna be okay either way.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Even if the circumstances are not what you thought they would be.
That's confidence.
It's still gonna be okay, because as long as you're alive, there's still another chance for you to try something different. And that's okay. I'm pretty sure the mic picked that up. but it's okay. I apologize, you guys.
If you hear Damien's pen tapping during this segment, I tried to take the pen away a few times.
When you hear it on the radio,
that is a habit.
Just say yes. That was Dame. That was Dame doing.
Okay.
But if you hear some clinging,
I wasn't gonna say nothing about it till you brought it up.
It's okay. Wow, 21 women and 1 man. Wow, I know that's a stressful situation.
21 women and 1 man.
Oh my God, that's a lot of emotions right there.
You know what? That's the other thing. I was so self-aware going into this field. I knew that I could be myself as a therapist. Don't you feel some kind of relief when you go to work?
Absolutely.
That we can be ourselves and people can decide I'm with this or I'm not, and that's okay. And we can decide we're with this or we're not.
Right.
And that's okay.
It makes it a whole lot easier.
I think so.
Like there are so many people in this mental health field that end up leaving the field because of burnout, compassion fatigue, and sometimes anxiety, depression, whatever the case may be, because it's a mental struggle. This anguish that you're experiencing is because what you feel and what you're projecting is not matching up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't be a square. I can't. I can't just sit in the office and have my legs crossed and, my eyes down, you know what I'm saying, my glasses down here by my nose, and have my button up and my tie and all this, right? I can't do that. I gotta be me. I'm not your average therapist, and I embrace that.
Management is a lot like being a therapist?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
because you do have to manage a whole lot of emotions, and everybody's coming to you. They want a solution.
It's like being a mediator.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely. But I definitely appreciate that, James. What's going on? Yeah,
okay.
We good. But definitely, I hope you guys were able to grab some of the the jewels and things that we're talking about today as far as anxiety, because this is something that everyone deals with.
Yeah.
It just depends on the severity of the situation. However, we do experience stress, work-related stress, anxiety, ongoing excessive worry. We experience it all the time. And I don't want you guys to feel like, you're by yourself in this situation. And there's always things that you can do to kind of help reduce some of those negative responses, bodily responses, behaviors, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But it's definitely manageable. You don't always have to go get medication. Google is there, research is there. You have therapists.
Go to a therapist. That's what I was going to say.
You have Dame right here. Reach out. You have Jackie if you prefer a female. It's okay. I'm not mad. But
some of our male viewers will prefer a female therapist. I already know.
But my people,
So you can see a therapist. There are ways to learn to reduce and alleviate anxiety. You can look us up on Psychology Today. We are available. I know Damien for sure is taking clients at this moment, right?
Yes,
adults and kids.
I'm always taking clients.
Adults and kids. I take clients, but a little more rigid on how many I'm going to take. But basically, just look us up if you're interested in therapy services. Look us up on YouTube, The Couch 704, where this episode and segment will be posted within the next 2 days. I know. I like to give you a little more time, though. I always say 2 days because I don't want you to feel pressure to do it in 24 hours. But
it is no pressure.
This will be posted sometime in the very near future. If you have any questions or comments or concerns about this topic, be sure to message us or message us at the couch.
Absolutely. Like, if you got questions, definitely either before or even after, and it doesn't even have to be topic related, definitely reach out to us. If I don't know the answer, I'll get you the answer. I'm like a general practitioner. I don't have all the answers, but I can definitely get that for you.
Okay.
And, check us out. TuneIn app, TuneIn Radio, Power 104.4 on Mondays, 2 to 3 p.m. You'll see the re-airing of this live and maybe some additional stuff after we stop this live. We might continue to do a little bit more talking because somebody likes to talk. I'm not going to say no name.
Marisha, I will not take you for therapy, okay? I've known you too long. It's unethical. I'll refer you if you really need to see somebody, and I know you're playing. But if you need somebody, you let me know, girl, and I'll hook you up.
But definitely, we'll be back next week, same time, same channel. Definitely take care of yourself and each other. Who says that?
Who says that?
That was
Ellen?
Jerry. No, that was Jerry Springer.
Oh, Jerry Springer. Ellen says, "Be kind to each other." Right? Doesn't she say that?
I don't know, but I thank you guys for the support, and you make this really fun.
And share the video. Share the video on your
As
page,
always.
please, for people that need to be chimed into this topic.
Definitely share it so other people can like the page. Follow us on Instagram, Couch704. Definitely go and subscribe to the YouTube channel because we're definitely going to be uploading things in the near future that are not going to be on live. So you definitely want to subscribe so you can get notified when the Couch is doing an episode that's not going to be on Facebook. We got to get some exclusivity going on. Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm confident. We can just go with the flow of that.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Be fluid.
Okay. Well, good.
I got you.
Okay.
You know
there
what I mean?
it is.
So, again, next week, you guys, same bat time, same bat channel. We're here. Dane, Jackie, the Couch, we're here. Your mental health matters.
Your mental health matters.
Can we talk? Like Tevin Campbell. See you guys.
See y'all later next week.
Be easy.
Bye.